morning. So today we are going to do a class which is all about working the deeper muscles within. So a bit different to our normal classes. We're going to be mainly down on the floor, in fact nearly all down on the floor, really concentrating on pelvic floor, deep abdominals, and how those muscles connect inside. So we're going to start off today in crook lying. So that's lying on the floor on your back, knees and feet hip distance apart, and that's about a fist between your knees and your feet. At the front of your pelvis, you've got two bony points. If you slide your fingers to the inside of those bony points, you'll find some nice fleshy bits. Okay, so although that isn't the pelvic floor itself, that's where we can feel whether or not we get a contraction. Without squeezing your bottom, without having any pelvic movement, so keeping everything nice and still externally, can you internally feel like you draw upwards and inwards from your back passage to your front passage towards your belly button? And as you do that, you should feel a little swell underneath your fingers just here. Okay, that's your transversus abdominis. So let that go. And again, when you're ready, you're going to connect up internally, back passage to front passage to belly button. Now you should feel, I say, that gentle little swell. It's not a grip and a grab. This muscle should be working at about 20% of its maximal contraction, because it works at a low level all the time that we're up and sitting and standing. Okay, keep breathing, and that swell should stay. So if you feel that one side is stronger than the other, or if as you lie there holding it, breathing it, maybe chatting to somebody, that you feel that that swell starts to disappear, then that's an indication that you need to be working on the pelvic floor strength a little bit. Okay, once again, we're going to draw up and in, back passage to front passage to belly button. Can you breathe it and hold it? And can you also now feel how you might get a little activation of the muscles in the lower back? Okay, breathe and hold again. And just try and have a nice calm breath, abdominal breath. Because the other thing you should be able to do is breathe independently of this muscle. So again, another checkpoint is as you're breathing, the muscle that you're feeling for in between these bony points is staying nice and still. It's not going up and down with your breath pattern. Once again, if it is going up and down with your breath pattern, then what you need to know is that it's something that you need to work on. Okay, so from here, we're going to start with a very simple little exercise called hundreds. I say simple, it's everybody's different. So you're going to lengthen your arms long by your side. Make sure that you've got a good neck position. So if you need something under your head to make sure that your head's not falling backwards, then please do have something under your head. You're going to hover your arms, fingertips to toes, and from your shoulders, we're going to do a little bit of gentle pulsing. This is called hundreds. Okay, so you're going to breathe in for 5 and breathe out for 5. Breathe in for 5. Now, as you breathe out, can you just gently think about connecting up through that pelvic floor, deep abdominal spine, and then let it go as you breathe in. Breathe out, drawing up and in, and breathing in to let it go. Okay, so keep going like that, gently up and in on your out breath, letting it go on your in breath. Whilst you're doing that, I'm just going to talk you through why I talk up through the pelvic floor. So it used to be taught that you just go belly button to spine. The problem is if you do that too hard, it can actually push the pelvic floor down as you're doing it. So if you learn to do all your Pilates work by just gripping with the deep abdominals and not by pulling up with the pelvic floor, and you overwork, then it can push the pelvic floor down. That can lengthen the pelvic floor, make it weaker, and in really extreme cases can lead to continence issues. So we always now teach by drawing the pelvic floor up first, and then you learn to work off that. Same for men and women. Okay, right, lower the arms down. Right, from here, place your fingertips onto those bony points at the front. We want the bony points to stay nice and still. We want the lower back to stay nice and still. So can you breathe in and breathe out as you extend the leg? Breathe in to return and out to go down. It's not often our cue breath, but it's nice for this one. So breathing in, breathe out to float up, breathe in to hold, out to extend, in to draw back, and out to lower down. Okay, keep those bony points nice and still. Breathing in, breathing out as you float into tabletop, breathe in to hold, reconnect the pelvic floor, breathe out as you extend, breathe in to come back, and out to lower down. Good. And again, breathing in, breathing out to come up, in to hold, breathe out to extend with that control, in to draw back, and out to come down. Good, we'll just do a couple more. Breathing in, breathing out. So this is just to kind of make sure that your systems are woken up in terms of that control. Lowering down. And again, breathing in, breathing out to come up, in to hold, breathing out to extend, breathing in to return, and out as you lower down. Good. Right. Then, so that was level 2. I did level 2 first because I actually think that level 1 is harder to control. So level 1 is leg slides. Now, what we haven't done this morning is open up the hips. So this will give you a good indication of how you are with regards having not opened up your hips and control of your back, if you've got any tightness. It's also about the control and the use. It's not all about hip tightness. It's also about the control and the use of the deep muscles. So place your hands back on those bony points. Those bony points want to stay still. Your lower back wants to stay nice and controlled. Okay, this time stay connected to the floor with your feet. You're going to breathe in, breathe out, slide one leg down away from you, only so far as your bony point stays still and your lower back stays still. Breathe in to return. And then other leg, breathing out as you slide. Connect the pelvic floor first, if that helps. And breathe in to return. Okay, so we're just going to alternate, keeping the bony points still, sliding away, breathing in to come back, and connect the pelvic floor, breathing out as you slide, breathing in to come back. So some people don't get so very far with their slides, and if you don't go very far, it's more likely to do with control rather than hip flexor tightness. Lack of control at the end of range could be either. Could be either pure just lack of control in that part of the movement, or it could just as equally be hip flexor tightness. So just nice slides away. Good. And then slide it back. Okay, and that's a real foundation exercise. It's one that we should be doing quite regularly, really, to make sure that we've got that underlying control. So we're now going to go into double tabletop, and I just want to check you to check that you're safe for this. If you're not safe for this, then don't do any double tabletop exercises, and I'll talk you through that now. So place your hands on your tummy. Okay, your tummy should be nice and soft. You're going to take a breath in, as you breathe out, bring one leg into tabletop, connect the pelvic floor, inside, back, front belly button, breathe in, Breathe out, float the other leg up into double tabletop. Okay, now if you cannot do that without either your abdominals ballooning, your lower back gripping, or an inability to breathe freely, then you shouldn't work in double tabletop and you do all the exercises down with one leg alternately instead. Okay, so that's the ruling for double tabletop. Okay, so from there, you're either in double tabletop or you're in single tabletop, and we're going to start with scissors. Scissors is an exercise which is about moving from the hips, not from the back, not from the knees. So from here, we're going to lower one leg down from the hip and return, and lower the other leg down from the hip and return. So if you're just doing it off the floor, then obviously start with 2 feet on the floor, bring one leg up and back down. Now it might be that you're okay in double tabletop, but you can't get to the floor. Okay, so if that's the case, then you just get down to wherever you can control your lower back and return. So it's okay to do much smaller movements. You don't have to do the full range of movement to keep that control. Okay. So one leg at a time, keeping that control. Keep breathing. Good. Okay. Last couple of these. Keep focusing on that lumbar control, that abdominal control. And then bring your legs down, 1, 2, nice and safely. Okay. In a moment, we're just going to go back up to that. So again, we're going to take the arms in. If you're not in double tabletop, then in single tabletop, as one leg goes down, the arm is going to go down and back up. And let's do 10 in total, which would mean if you're doing single leg, you're going to do 5 to one side, then swap 5 to the other side. Okay, so I'll talk through double tabletop. In double tabletop, you're going to take both arms up. You're going to connect up through the pelvic floor, bring one leg up, bring the other leg up. Okay, so opposite arm, opposite leg. When you're ready, we're going to keep that control of the abdominal region, keep the control of the lumbar region as you lower down and return. Lower down and return. Good. Again. Lower and return. So this will be number 5. If you're in single tabletop, after this one, change over. Okay. Lower and control. Lower, control. Good. Last 2, I think. Lower and return. Down and return. Then bring the legs down. 1, 2. Good. Right, now interlink your fingers. Bring your hands underneath your head. Make sure that your little fingers are at the base of your skull, your index fingers at the top of your spine, and that will mean that you cannot look back with your head, because what you don't want to do with this is give yourself a neck problem. Okay, keep your elbows in your peripheral vision, and from your obliques, the muscles that sit underneath your rib cage, can you bring yourself up? Okay, so from here, we're going to go opposite shoulder to opposite hip. Think about going diagonal, using these muscles that sit across the front of your abdominals, but deeper. So when you're ready, we're going to come up and across and return, and up and across and return. So alternate your sides. We're not going down to the floor. Breathing out to come up and across and in to return. And again, breathing out and in. Good. And breathing out, going up and across. Breathing in to return. Breathing out and into return. Up and across and into return. Good, a couple more times. Okay, now lower the head for a little moment. And again, you can either do 5 to one side and 5 to the side if you want to stay in a single tabletop, or we'll do 10 in total and we'll alternate the legs. So if you want to do double tabletop, bring one leg up, connect the pelvic floor, bring the other leg up. Now nod the chin to the chest. Okay, right, from here. So if it's right shoulder to left hip, right leg extends away and vice versa. When you're ready, breathing out, come away, and breathing in. Extend and rotate. So extend the leg as you come up and across with the ribs, and breathing in, breathing out and in. Keep the control of those abdominals. Okay, if it's getting too much, come down to single tabletop. So if you're in single, then it's time to swap. And again, up and across and away. Good, keep the control. Okay, last two. And again. Well done. And lower the head, lower the legs, 1, 2. When you're in double tabletop, never lower the legs together. Puts a lot more stress on the abdominals in the back. Okay, right, from here, we are going to do a level 1 side kick, concentrating on control of the trunk, and then we're going to take it up a little bit higher. So if you can, lie yourself down. Okay. With any of our side lying exercises, remember the crucial point is that the pelvis is forwards to the floor. The moment that the pelvis rolls back, you've lost it. The other really important thing is the waist is long. So you need to draw your top hip away from your rib cage. And again, if that kind of collapses, then you've lost it again. So length there, hover there. Now keep it nice and long as you glide forwards and glide backwards. And glide forwards and glide backwards. Now I'm a bit limited by this cupboard behind, but as you glide backwards, you're looking to go as far as you can, making sure that the movement still comes from your hip and that you're not extending from your lower back. As you come forwards, you're wanting to make sure that waist and that trunk stays completely still. So everything above your hip is still. Okay, good. Last couple of those. Well done. And then we're going to do the same exercise, but we're going to do it in a side bend position. So when you're ready, and if you don't want to do this because you've got a sore shoulder, then just keep going with lying down on the floor. Okay, but if you are happy to do it, then prop up, elbow directly underneath your shoulder. Don't slump in your shoulder, grow tall out of your shoulder. We're going to lift from the ribs. We're just going to go up onto the knees. Okay, we're going to take the top arm in a moment into a running arm. Before you do, take the top leg up, about parallel to the floor. Okay, and we're going to run. So we're going to extend from the hip as we go forward with the arm, and vice versa. Same rule. You're going to keep that waist nice and still along, the trunk nice and still along. Move from the hip. Keep the control of the lower back. Good. Last couple of these. Well done. And then come down. Right. The next one I want to show you, I'm going to do in the full side plank position, but I'll just quickly demonstrate if you don't want to do full side plank, although I actually think full side plank is easier for this, but it's obviously about you and your body. So if you do not want to do full side plank, then you're back in your level 1 side plank, and it's there, and it's a little dip and lift, and dip and lift. So that's what we're going to do. Pelvis to the floor and up. Tiny little movements. Both level 1 and level 2, we're looking to use the obliques. Okay, if you want to do the level 2, you've got your legs in this funny setup to begin with. Your top foot is in front of your bottom foot, your top knee is up towards the ceiling, and you start like that. Okay, you want your hand so that your elbow is extended, but once again, we're not slumped into that shoulder. We're growing nice and tall, shoulder blades to bottom, and the lift is once again going to come from the obliques. So when you're ready, take a breath in, and we're going to squeeze and lift. Okay, now from here, you're not getting to the floor, you're going towards the floor. We're going to go down and up, 2. Okay, so use the muscles underneath the rib cage. And keep going. Keeping nice and strong. Good, last couple. And then fold it back down. Good. Right, we're going to do one nice gentle exercise before we go on to the other side. We're going to do swimming level 1, which is again about the control of our hips. This time using our glutes, our buttock muscles, our hamstrings. Again, not the lower back. Again, we've done no hip opening today, so you may be a little bit limited by hip tightness if that's an issue for you. Right, you're going to lie down with your head on your hands and on your tummies, chin towards your chest, shoulders down towards your bottom. All right. So first of all, in this position, can you lengthen your tailbone so that you've got a gentle little hollow in front of your hips? Can you gently connect up through your pelvic floor? Because it does definitely help people with their control. And then alternating your legs. You're going to feel like you lengthen one leg, and then it's a tiny hover from the hip using the glute, and lower down. Other side, lengthen, little hover, and down. Again, lengthen, hover, and down. Good. Lengthen, hover, and down. Keep the lower back completely out of the equation. So the lower back should stay still. The muscles in the lower back should stay quiet. If you can't do that, then you do what I call an almost hover. So you just do a lengthen, a squeeze, as if you're going to lift the leg, but don't actually lift the leg. As you start to learn about the control and using the muscles in the correct patterning. Okay, so you can make this as tiny as needs. If you're somebody with incredibly flexible hips, then you might get a high lift, but most people only have a very small lift anyway. Good, last couple of those. Okay, lovely. Right, we're going to come up onto our other side. So lying on our complete side to begin with, pelvis forwards to the floor, 2 bent legs, and lengthen the top hip away from the rib cage. Okay, keeping the waist long, hop the leg, and then keep the control of the waist as you glide forwards. Waist, leg parallel to the floor, and keep the control as you glide back. Gliding forwards and gliding back, keeping that control. Gliding forwards and gliding back. So keep monitoring your waist, making sure that the waist, the top hip is a long away from the rib cage. Keep monitoring your lower back. I like to keep a thumb stuck in the back of mine, and then I can just feel, and if any movement starts to creep in, then I do a bit of reconnection deep inside, control that movement. Okay, last one. And then we're going to go up into our side bend position. Remember, if you've got a bad shoulder, you can just stay lying down here on the side. Okay, but if you are happy to go up into side bend, then do. Make sure your elbow is directly underneath your shoulder. We hurt our shoulders if it starts to creep out. Okay, again, just to remind you, we're not here in a sloppy slump. We're here growing tall. Everything around the back of the shoulder blade should feel connected. You should feel like you're lifting up from this underneath rib cage. Top foot in front of the bottom foot, just on our knees for this first one. So when you're ready, lift from the underneath rib cage, we're going up. Okay, then hover that top leg. Then bring the arm in. And when you're ready, we're going to glide. Oops, I've gone the wrong way. So where am I going? That way. I've got the arms and my legs all messed up. There we are. That is right. So as you come forward to the leg, you go back with the arm. Okay. Keep the long waist. Keep growing strong out of the underneath shoulder. Gliding the leg back from the hip joint. Make sure you're breathing. Good. Keep that control. Keep breathing. Make sure everything above the hip stays still apart from the shoulder. Well done. The last couple. Good. Okay, coming down. And then last one. So remember, you could do this in the level 1 side plank if you wanted, but like I say, I think level 2 is actually easier for this work. Level 2, very tall out of the underneath shoulder, top foot again in front of the bottom foot, top knee pointed up towards the ceiling. That's your start position, 2 shoulder blades down towards the bottom, nice long neck. Okay, lift once again from this underneath rib cage. So when you're ready, breathing in and breathing out, squeeze and lift. Now from the pelvis, we're going to do a little drop and a lift, drop and a lift. Now it's actually coming from the obliques, the muscles underneath the rib cage, but it's the pelvis that's dropping to the floor. Keep breathing. Good. Last few. Dip and lift. 2 more. Well done. And then bend and come down. Right, well done. We're going to finish with a nice stretch. So that's your work done. Okay, we're going to finish with a stretch. If you would like, state yourself into a shell stretch. So bottom back towards your heels, arms out in front of you, crown of the head relaxed. Breathe. And then as you breathe, start to walk the hands to the left. Nice big breath. And the hands to the right. Keep the head down. Breathing. And to the left. And to the right. One more time to the left. Breathe. And to the right. Good. And center. Roll yourself up into high kneeling. From high kneeling, take one leg forwards. Okay, so you're in your hip flexor stretch position. Tuck your tailbone underneath. Find your hip flexor stretch. Glide into it a little bit more if you want to. Then take the same arm as the back leg up. And we're going to stretch over. Okay, so let's do that in a nice combined movement. We're going to tuck, glide if you need to glide, and stretch and come back. So making it a bit more dynamic, we're going to swap legs. Step forward, tuck, glide, stretch, and return. And again. Now, I would really like you to concentrate on keeping that tailbone lengthened so you don't just come forwards through the trunk. Breathe. And back. Tuck. Nice big stretch. Breathe. And return. Good. And again, tuck the tailbone. Keep that tailbone tucked. Glide, stretch, breathe, reach, and return. Good. Again, tuck underneath. Reach, breathe, and return. Good. From here, both legs under, tuck your toes, come up into a down dog, and do some nice heel pumps. Just stretching through the back of the legs. Not using that much today, but if you're about to go for a run, it's a nice way to just get the calves moving and lengthening a little bit before you ask too much of them. Let the heads relax. Good. And then walk your feet to your hands. Take a nice big breath. Breathe out, curl your way up. Okay, we'll just do one more roll down, breathing in and breathing out. Curl down, knees softly straight. Good, crown the head down, breathing in and breathing out to curl up. Good. So to finish off today, we're going to do an exercise called walking. The idea is that your pelvis stays level, so if you can see yourself, have a little look. Okay, you're going to bring yourself up onto your toes, then lower one heel. Okay, and then we go swap and swap and swap and swap. Knees coming out over your toes as you do, so we're not having the legs dropping in or out. And swap and swap and swap. Okay, and then you can take it into a jog. Swap, swap, and really focus. So connect that pelvic floor, transverse abdominis, little multifidus at the back. Keep focusing on breathing whilst all of that is just subtly engaged, and you're taking yourself through this motion so that your pelvis is staying level. Okay, and you can go even faster if you want, so long as you can keep that pelvis nice and level. Good, and then take it back and add in some nice arms. Good, still keeping that pelvis, and then take yourself up to a nice little sprint or a run, might not be a sprint, a run. Through the big toes, keeping that pelvis level. Well done, and then just bring it down, that last little bit of control. Great, and relax. Thank you very much. As I say, different kind of class today, but one that we should probably repeat a little bit more often than we do. We're really focusing on that deep, deep work. It gives us our control, and it's our foundation that everything else builds upon. Okay, thank you very much.